F-18, we're excited. The jets are here.
The jets are here. The weather is indeed improving. So we talked about the Canadians being here. These two aircraft are CF-18s, Canadian aircraft from the Royal Canadian Air Force. What you see now is a modern jet fighter. This is an active inventory in countries all over the world, certainly for our United States Navy and United States Marine Corps as well. The Canadian guys are coming out, so the fast-moving jets, they're checking out the weather as well too. And the cool thing about this is they'll do some maneuvers and some flybys, but what they're going to be able to do is make a lot of noise.
We were going to say the noise is here. So because the jets are here, we know the weather has gotten a lot better?
Yeah, it's absolutely right. So they're able to take off out of Stanford without issue, and they're able to navigate themselves below the weather here, and now they're in the aerobatic box, and they will be able to do some good flying maneuvers down the run.
This might be a bigger thunder than usual because of the low cloud ceilings. You think we might get some reverb off of some of these jets? The sound is
very good. Yeah, sound attenuation.
Echoing.
That's right.
Now, I was doing some research on them, and it came across an interesting fact from the Royal Air Force saying that its twin engines generate enough thrust to lift 24 full-size pickup trucks off the ground.
I think that depends on what you have in the back of those 24 pickup trucks. Yes. In what the F-18, F-16, F-35, and these more advanced aircraft will have a greater than 1-to-1 thrust-to-weight ratio, which means that they will produce more thrust than the aircraft can weigh in certain configurations, which means they can accelerate going straight up. We won't get to watch them accelerate straight up today, but we will at least get to hear the sound of the two afterburning engines per airplane. There are two of them out there, just roaring to life.
Well, and I did see that yesterday in the practice run. They did that maneuver that you just said, and I said, does that have anything to do with aircraft carriers? And you said no, correct?
No. Now, the F-18 that we see here, the Canadian one, the F-18 design itself was built for naval aviation to be able to land on the deck of aircraft carriers. But we won't see them might be able to see them do the low or the high angle of attack pass, which is what you saw yesterday, where they're able to slow down and bring the nose way up.
Yeah.
Right? Here they come. And he's coming by now with his landing gear down. You asked about that earlier,
yeah.
So he's going to show how slow the aircraft can get.
Showing off.
Yeah, it'll show off a little bit. You see the vapor trails coming out of the wings. When it's very humid like this, the aircraft will be able to really generate a lot of vapor as it goes by, which is cool. Yep. Just listen to that sound. Take all that in. And you can see this. He's got the tail hook extended. And what that means is he's showing in a landing configuration if you were going to have to take a cable or if it was one of our aircraft landing on a carrier.
Heading right toward New Albany, folks. If you're in New Albany, look up and open your windows right over the knobs of Indiana right now. That's the direction.
What a sight.
The throttle's not even opened up all that much.
No, his afterburners weren't in. I'm sure they'll come by with a fast pass, but realize the faster they go, the more space it takes them to turn around. So,
and we're standing by, and once the Canadian National Anthem starts, we will pause for that as well.
The CF-18s maintain a constant state of alert, ready to respond immediately to potential threats to continental security, and they have been since September 11th.
That's right. So this aircraft is capable of both air-to-air and air-to-ground combat. Radar in the nose, it fires radar-guided missiles, infrared-guided missiles, and can drop a whole host of bombs. And we'll see folks from our Navy, from the U.S. Navy, come in later flying an F-18 as well.
When we were talking about that, you said that was a slower pass. What kind of speed are we talking about there?
Yeah, he was coming in there probably about, around 200 knots, so, about 230, 240 miles an hour. But, that aircraft is capable of over the speed of sound type of flight. They will not break the sound barrier today, no matter what people might think. They're not going to go over the sound barrier. But he can really come ripping down the river at about 500 knots.
And it's highly computerized, and its onboard computer system could probably be reprogrammed for what, in an instant, depending on what their mission is.
No, it takes a little bit longer to reprogram the software of the aircraft. But the design philosophy of the F-18, F-16, F-15, and even the A-10 was, it is great to have aircraft, but if you can't fly them a lot, then you don't have a lot of aircraft. So they're all built with the maintainers in mind, the guys, the men and women that fix and service these aircraft, to be able to change electronics quickly, change parts quickly to get the airplane in the air.
When we were talking about, Doug said, okay, folks, they're coming over New Albany. So tell us what flight pattern they're using. So they go over New Albany, then what are they doing?
So we are in waivered airspace currently because you can't just do these types of maneuvers anywhere. So there are notices to airmen all throughout the United States today that know that thunder over Louisville is going on. We've got an area that's 5 miles in diameter, and inside that airspace, the guys can do their aerobatic maneuvers. They can go faster than normal. Normally outside of waivered airspace, a fighter jet at low altitude, unless he's in military training or in an actual wartime mode, won't go over 350 knots. You know, they'd like him to be.
It shows how good the visibility is, though, because that whole loop they did, we could see them.
Here
That's
they
right.
come right back over the
faster,
bridges.
like.
Yeah, they're going to be cruising by. You should hear a pretty good sound here.
Oh, yeah.
And watch how much harder he has to pull on that airplane. He's pulling about 5 Gs probably there.
Look at that.
Yeah. Giving us a nice little wing wag as he goes by. And you're seeing state-of-the-art military aircraft there. The F-18 is in combat in the Middle East on any given day and is certainly projecting power throughout the world. The Canadians, great allies of the United States. Right. They have joined us in all of our combat expeditions.
I'll tell you what, this is just beautiful to see. Thunder in the air. We're going to take a quick break and be back with the F-18s.